Right, these are estimation questions. Dennis gets paid £8.21 per hour he works. He works 41 hours. So we need to estimate the amount Dennis gets paid in a week. Notice it says estimate. It doesn't want an accurate answer. So to make the calculations easy, obviously we have to times the two numbers together, because we're trying to find the total amount. Because each hour he works, he gets paid £8.21. So we've got to do £8. We've got to times these two numbers together to get the true value, the actual value, but it wants us to estimate. So what we then do is, let's just say £8.21, we'll just round it down, £8. It's more manageable, it's easier to work with. And instead of 41 hours, we'll just call it 40 hours. It's easier to work with. Then all we're going to do is 40 times 8. Right, that's just an estimate of how much Dennis gets paid a week. The second part is referring to if this answer is an overestimate, if it's overestimated or underestimated. Well, I've rounded down all the numbers, haven't I? So clearly this is an underestimate. Right, the next question is a little bit trickier. It's asking us to work at to estimate the area of the shaded shape. Okay. Obviously it says here the shape is formed by cutting a square, right? It's cut a square, right? So I need to estimate the area of the shaded part, the bit that's remaining. Right. So what I'm gonna do is, what you normally do is work at the big area minus the small area, the bit that's cut out, the square. And that would give you the area of the shaded part. So first of all, I need to work at the area of the big shape before it's cut out. We'll give this number, instead of 3.23, we're just going to round this down to 3, and we'll round this down to 5. So 3 times 5, 15. That's the area of the big shape before it's cut out. Then the area of the small shape, this bit that's been cut out, we'll use numbers. We're going to have to round this up. It's necessary to round this up to 2. It's easy to deal with, and obviously that's going to be 2 as well. 2 times 2 is 4. So the small square we're referring to as 4. 15 take away 4 leaves you with 11 meters squared. That's just an estimate. Okay, we've just got an estimate for the area. Now this bit is a bit tricky because we need to either underestimate, we have to say if it's an underestimate or overestimate. The problem is that we've rounded the big rectangle, the dimensions of the big rectangle down, and we've rounded up the dimensions of the bit that's cut out. Right, so you need to think carefully. The big shape has been rounded down, so this one is smaller than necessary. Smaller than true value. Okay, the true value. Obviously the true value, you'd have to times those two numbers together. You'd have to use a calculator for that. So this is smaller than the true value. And this one here, referring to the little square that's been cut out, the dimensions have been increased. Right. So the value that we got here, the 4, is bigger than the true value. So we're doing something that's smaller than the true value minus something bigger than the true value. All right, so what we have in this situation is we've actually underestimated our answer. Right, if I was to exaggerate this, let's say, the work is done now, but let's suppose instead of 15, I make it even smaller. Okay, something ridiculous like this, say a 10. And then this 4, I make it bigger than the true value. Let's say I'll call it 9. But then 10 take away 9 is 1. Now you can tell straight away by looking at this one, it is a massive underestimate. So when you're doing smaller value, smaller than necessary value, minus bigger than the necessary value, you do get an underestimate